The sexual assault trial against Canadian businessman Frank Stronach continues in Toronto. Today, the judge-alone trial is hearing from the sixth woman to bring forward allegations of sexual assault. She is one of 7 women who will be heard from during this trial. The CBC's Jamie Strachan is at the courthouse in Toronto. And so, Jamie, tell us about today's testimony.
Hi, Andrew. We heard today from a woman who, now in her 70s, had a very difficult morning on the stand. She was in tears even walking into court, and her testimony had to be stopped on a number of different occasions so she could compose herself. Here's what she told the court. She was at Frank Stronach's Toronto restaurant known as Rooney's on Valentine's Day, 1986. She was in her early to mid 30s. She was there alone, having a good night, celebrating the night. Frank Stronach allegedly approached her at the bar. They had a number of drinks. At the end of the night, as the bar closed down, Stronach offered to give her a lift home. She testified that she soon realized as the drive unfolded home that he was ignoring her instructions as to where she lived. And eventually they ended up back at Stronach's condominium at the Harbor Castle Hotel. This was about 3 a.m. She repeatedly told Mr. Stronach that she wanted to leave. At one point, testifying that she was looking out through the glass windows that overlooked the city and threatened to break the windows and jump if she did not let her leave his apartment. She testified that eventually Mr. Stronach appeared naked and then sexually assaulted her. She broke down in tears describing the event, and that's where the testimony broke for lunch. It's this kind of testimony, lots of tears on the stand, as we've now heard from 6 different complainants recount events that in some cases took place nearly 50 years ago.
And you've been there for the whole trial so far. How does what we heard today tie in with that larger picture?
Well, there's a couple of different things that kind of stick out in this trial so far. I would say that from the 6 witnesses that we've heard, there's almost a common narrative that's existed between all of their stories. Many of the nights began at this bar, Rooney's, and ended up back at Frank Stronach's apartment. In some cases, the woman had never met Stronach before. In other scenarios, they were connected to him somehow through his company. But a key theme in all of this, Andrew, is really the passage of time. Frank Stronach is facing 12 charges from 7 different women. Those charges span from 1977 to 1990. So these women's recollection of minute details around the events of these alleged assaults have been challenged under harsh cross-examination from Stronach's lawyer, Leora Shemesh, regarded as one of the finest defense attorneys here in the province of Ontario. She's gone very hard at their ability to recount events, the discrepancies between their initial statements to police and what they're saying on the witness stand. And of course, in some cases, she's delved into some of the things that have undermined the credibility of some of these witnesses, like the woman who was on the stand yesterday, who Shemesh brought up, has more than 24 different civil cases against her, undermining her credibility. One other thing to watch, Andrew, as this trial unfolds that I think is very important for our audience to know, there's been an abuse of process motion filed by Stronach's lawyer that goes after the way that the Crown prepped some of the witnesses for this case, alleging that in some cases information was supplied to some of the complainants that they didn't disclose themselves. That kind of is looming over all of this case, and will be something for Justice Anne Malloy, a longtime member of the bench, to consider as these proceedings wrap up. The implications possibly, she hasn't heard this yet, but the implications possibly is that, there could be some findings of guilt in a number of these charges, but those findings could potentially be stayed if she finds that this abuse of process did happen, a fairly serious allegation, but that won't be heard until the end of the case. We're still going to hear from a little bit more from the sixth complainant in this case, and then the final complaint is expected to take the stand before the week wraps up, and then the defense will have a chance to present their case. But the passage of time, definitely the theme here at this courthouse, as these complainants recount very graphic details of alleged events that, as I mentioned, in some cases occurred nearly 50 years ago.
Jamie, thank you. That is the CBC's Jamie Strachan, live in Toronto.